Amongst all the bugs throughout development, questionable weapon additions, controversial skins that would have killed half the player base if they chose to release them, the community remains very vocal about a certain addition to Insurgency Sandstorm even after over a year of it being added to the game: the death cam. But does the death cam belong in Sandstorm? That's the question I hope to answer in this video, so I'm going to try and look at this from both sides to remain as open-minded as possible. Insurgency Sandstorm's death cam doesn't operate like other shooters on the market. For example, Call of Duty gives you 5 seconds or whatever it is of enemies' POV and how they killed you, while Battlefield outlines and tracks your enemy through objects for a few seconds after they've killed you.
I am black.
How the fuck you one-shot me with a... There's literally an invisible man with a flare gun running around. Sandstorm's a little different. After you've been killed, the camera will hover and direct itself to the general area where you've been killed from, often not working that well, and even when it does, it doesn't give you a strict location or POV of your enemy. But even in its current state, the death cam is still a problematic addition because it goes against Sandstorm's hardcore nature. For as long as video games have been around, there have been people seeking more and more difficult challenges in order to earn trophies, achievements, or simply to just get a feeling of self-fulfillment. Speedrunners spend countless hours perfecting a run, completionists spend sometimes years collecting and completing all the secrets and achievements, and Dark Souls players wake up in the morning and decide to become a fucking psychopath and complete the entire game without taking damage. But that's what keeps those players returning to their favourite video games: the challenge. Trying to make your game appeal to as many people as possible isn't always a recipe for success, and NWI need to be careful in the future. Dark Souls is renowned for being extremely difficult and sometimes just downright unfair. But does that mean they should add an easy mode or make it so that you can save at any time instead of locating bonfires? No. If people wanted to play an easier version of Dark Souls, they would just not play Dark Souls.
What the hell are you talking about?
The appeal of that game is the challenge. It's about making the player learn from their mistakes and to better themselves through those mistakes. The game isn't meant to be easy, which brings me to Insurgency Sandstorm. What the fuck, dude? Despite what people might tell you, the Insurgency series has always been a mixture of realism and fun. It's never tried to be a meal sim, and it's never tried to be an arcade shooter. It's just simply a hardcore FPS with semi-realistic attributes that, in my opinion, mold together perfectly to form the ultimate FPS experience. I'm not running for 3 years across an empty field, I'm not sinking 400 bullets into someone to kill them, and I'm not having my screen clogged with so much information to the point where I don't need to think about anything that I do. I'm so sick of FPS games spoon feeding you so much information in the form of kill cams, spotting, thermal, kill feeds, 3D spotting on minimaps, on-screen minimaps, blah blah blah. The list goes on. That's what I love about Insurgency Sandstorm. It doesn't baby you, and it actively punishes you for your mistakes and encourages you to learn from them. But this death cam just contradicts that.
When you strip away the stuff that makes people comfortable and you force them to adapt and survive, it's all the more satisfying to survive because they accomplished something. And that's a game. When you don't know what's going on and you discover what's going on and then you act and then you succeed, then you get the reward.
You don't have too much UI help. You just gotta kind of like figure it out with what you have. And yeah, it is absolutely really tense. That sort of ideology of very minimalistic user feedback was there from the get-go. It was there from the inception. But everybody on the team loves that about it, and everybody I think on the team like wants to continue to do that. I think moving forward is when we'll keep making games.
Just like Dark Souls, the appeal of Sandstorm is its challenge. Don't know the maps? Play them enough and you'll learn them. Don't know what gun to use? Use them all. Don't know where you got shot from? Figure it out, man. If you play the game enough, all the mechanics, maps, and the general dynamic of a match will just become second nature. You just have to be willing to put in the hours to learn, and you'll ultimately become a better player because of it. There is a fine line between hardcore and arcade, and Sandstorm is walking right on the edge with the addition of this death cam. But in saying that, the death cam honestly doesn't really bother me. Don't get me wrong, I would much prefer the game without it, but in its current state, it really isn't that game breaking for me personally, and I completely understand why they implemented it. But that doesn't necessarily mean I support it. I keep arguing with myself in my own head about this death cam topic because on one hand I'm all for helping new players learn this game and have it more accessible to them, but on the other hand there's a voice inside of me that is just screaming at the idea of introducing casual players to this game and having their voice outweigh the developer's vision, eventually turning Sandstorm into a generic shooter. I want this game to get the recognition it deserves, but at the same time I want Sandstorm to be our little gem of a game that no one else knows about. So if this death cam isn't gonna go away, the only thing we can do is offer suggestions on how to improve it. I have a few suggestions that could keep the core players happy, whilst also helping the new players get used to the game. How about we only enable the death cam for the first 50 levels or something, so anyone above level 50 no longer has it. That would help the new players by easing their frustration of not knowing where they've got killed from. And to extend from that, how about we only have the death cam for the casual game modes like domination or the limited time game modes they do occasionally. The death cam doesn't belong in push, frontline or firefight. It ruins the gameplay tension, especially if I've got a good vantage point with a suppressed sniper or something. I want the enemy to figure out where I am, not have my position spoon-fed to them. That's taking away my effort of finding that spot and getting those kills. I'd also like it if we didn't get a death cam if you were headshot. That would incentivize headshots more in my opinion. Headshots are still important at the moment, but Sandstorm has such a fast time to kill that aiming for center mass is quite often enough to secure the kill. And lastly, no death cam if you've been killed by a suppressed gun. Suppressors are still super strong how they are at the moment, but they did receive an indirect nerf from the death cam. So I'm gonna pass the question off to you guys. Do you think the death cam belongs in Insurgency Sandstorm? For me personally, like I said, it honestly doesn't bother me too much. It's not game breaking for me, and I'm all for wanting to help new players understand the game. I want more people to fall in love with Sandstorm just like I did. But in saying that, I don't want this game to get any more casual. If they start adding hit markers or kill feeds or death cams like the ones in Battlefield or COD, then I'm gonna have a problem. At the end of the day, Insurgency Sandstorm is still a very hardcore shooter that punishes you for your mistakes and rewards you for your mechanical skill, teamwork, and map knowledge. Man, oh man.